So the great feast, the great Paschal feast, known to most people as Easter, is drawing to a close because this past week, the Ascension, the Feast of the Ascension happened, which means we're well on our way now to Pentecost. And this sort of season, the last part of it, is sort of called Whitsuntide, which is sort of what we're in at the moment. So I am going to do just one broadcast, and I'm going to do it towards the Pentecost end. And I'm going to talk in that broadcast about my views to do with religious extremism and to do with terrorism, particularly as the UK, I don't think I've mentioned it on my blogs yet, but as well as a lot of political upheaval at the moment, we've actually had quite a bad year so far when it comes to, terrorist attacks. So I'll talk about that as we get towards Pentecost. I'll use my broadcast, my seasonal broadcast for that. So if you're interested, look out for that. Next weekend, my blog's probably going to be focused on the upcoming general election, which is really, really important, and that's going on the week after next. So, again, if you're interested in that sort of thing, look out for that next week. This week was interesting because, as well as the Ascension, of course, we've had Memorial Day this weekend. Now, in England, we don't celebrate Memorial Day, or rather, Memorial Day is what we celebrate on Armistice Day, basically. The Americans actually split their feasts towards the forces, if you like, into two different groups. You've got Memorial Day, where the attention is on those who have died in war, and then you have Veterans Day, which is basically a focus on those who have served but they're still living. They're either still serving or they've retired. In England there is Armed Forces Day, but it's not really a big thing, and what we tend to do is we squash both into sort of a Remembrance Day, into the Armistice Day. And we use that as both a focus of remembrance of the dead and also thanksgiving for those who are called to military service. That's not to say, of course, that we don't have a holiday this weekend. We have our second May bank holiday. So we've had one at the start of the month. We also have one at the end. So it's a bank holiday, so because I have my Mondays off, it means that I can't really get anything that I want doing. The weather was pretty typical. It was hot last week, fantastic or whatever. I can manage it in small doses, though I do wish it was arid rather than humid. But then, of course, as soon as you get a whiff of a bank holiday, my God, the heavens open and it pours with rain. So there we are. I hope those in America that have celebrated Memorial Day have had a good time, as I hope most people in England who have celebrated the bank holiday have also. I am having a bit of a to-do at the moment because my next door neighbour has annexed my pine tree with a solid fence. Her garden emptied onto the Sallyport without any fence boundary, and she's put a boundary there now, which she's perfectly entitled to do. Unfortunately, rather than going up to meet with my sort of border fence, which goes down but doesn't go all the way to the Sallyport, she's gone onto my, what I believe is my land, right up to the steps that I have down to the Sallyport, and then she's gone up the side of the steps to join with the sort of wall at the fence at the bottom that has my gate in. Haven't yet been able to get pictures and photos because, as I said, it only happened last week. My parents have been away and I need to get them round to see it. I need to make photographic and videographic evidence because this could turn out to be something where we've got a land dispute on our hands, and I'm going to have to look into exactly what I have to do, and I've got to do that and take advice before I challenge the woman. She has said nothing about it to me. I just came back one day and there the fence was. So my pine tree is currently on the other side of a fence on my property that makes it part of the end of her garden. So we'll see what happens. My parents have been away this weekend visiting relatives in Scotland, so I'm waiting until they come back, and because it was raining today and I was busy yesterday, I haven't been able to do what I wanted yet, so hopefully that gets done in the next day or two, and I'll keep you updated on how that goes. Let's move on to the birthdays then, because we've got quite a lot of birthdays. We have got this week Chris Bailey, Kareem El Sharif, Christine Cann, Josie Picard, Matt Veach, Mark Farrell, Chuck Vincent, Jeff Colmer, Catherine Drakes and James Krause. We also have Bev Watson. Now, me and Bev Watson are very good friends and Bev was hosting a birthday party on Sunday last, so I was one of those that were invited to go round and enjoy this absolutely marvellous spread, a buffet that was absolutely marvellous. That I think she won in some sort of competition, and there was a birthday cake which was marvellous as well, made by another friend of mine. So it was absolutely fabulous. I really enjoyed it. So yes, I hope they all have a great birthday. I know that Bev has had a great birthday, and I also know that this happens to have reached her a bit late, so sorry about that. But she did have the real me in physical form, so I guess that makes up for it. I hope so anyway. So there we are. I hope they all have fantastic birthdays and eat lots of cake. Now we get on to my MMA supports. Jens is quite excited tonight and I don't know why. He's usually frightened stiff when I do any video recording, which is why I haven't really taken many photos or done many videos of him, because he is petrified of the camera. I don't know why, but he goes into uncontrollable screeching. So anyway, let's get on with my MMA supports, and we have UFC 212 coming up. The main event is fascinating. It is a sensible main event. This is Josie Aldo and Max Holloway. Max Holloway, who has, I think, earned the right to fight Josie Aldo here. I hope and would prefer Josie Aldo to win this one. I think where Max Holloway stands a chance is the fact that, once again, Josie Aldo has not really been fighting for the last 2 years. He came back and from a long layoff, and he got knocked out very quickly by Conor McGregor. He's only had one fight in the year or so since then, and he didn't finish there. It was a unanimous decision. So I think he's going to want to show that he's back, but I think that he has to be a bit careful. He has to be more careful than he was last time. Certainly, if ring rust plays a part in it again, it'll be age, and it'll be the fact that he's had such an extensive record that he will finally, be on the way sort of down, I suppose. I wasn't very impressed, I have to say. I used to be quite an ardent Joe Cede fan, and many people know my thoughts on Conor McGregor, but I have gone off Joe Cede significantly for some of his behaviour in the year or so, year and a half odd, since the match with Conor McGregor, because I don't think that I know that, you know, he feels he's been treated badly or whatever, but I don't think there's any excuse for some of the sort of some of the stuff that he's been saying, basically. I'm just having a quick look to see if there's anybody else. Vita Belfort and Nate Marquardt are fighting. I think Nathan will probably win that one, although he's not ranked here. But he's sort of two olders in that, I suppose. I think Nathan Marquardt stands a better chance. He's not quite as past it as Belfort might be now. Eric Silver, I support him, so I hope he does well. Rafael Asuncio is fighting. That's good. I hope he wins as well. I don't think I know anybody else on this card. Laurie Alcantara I have spoken of, but I don't really know enough to make a prediction. And I think that's it, isn't it? Yes, that's it. So there we are. Those are my supports. We've got Aldo, we've got Nathan Marquardt, we've got Eric Silver, and we've got Rafael Asuncio. So best wishes to all of those. I hope it goes well. And I think I have said quite enough for this week. So see you next time.